Hello, and thank you so much for joining me today on the Community Ledger. Today, we are going to dive into the fact that these radical judges are still trying to demand that Trump bring some of these Venezuelan gang members back to America. You won't believe this. Let's go ahead and start. Yes, you heard it right. These judges have lost their minds. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention over the weekend, but April 5th was that anti-Trump protest. And you could literally hear in the crowd people shouting, "Bring them back, bring them back." Literally speaking to the immigrants that have already been deported, the criminals, the ones that were MS-13 and Tren de Aragua that are back in Venezuela in terms of their prisons. People, Americans are literally shouting to bring them back. It's crazy. It's insane. And so again, thank you so much for joining me today on the Community Ledger. My name is Andrea Banu. And before we get started, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But we've got to get right into it because I really want you to hear what these judges are doing.
The judge found as follows. The DHS asserted that the respondent is a verified gang member. The respondent was arrested in the company of other ranking gang members and was confirmed to be a ranking member of the MS-13 gang by a proven and reliable source. Garcia had his due process, and whether or not you can be even convicted as a gang member, it was alleged that he was, in fact, a gang member. But from that point forward, a good 7 years after arriving in the United States illegally, Garcia claimed asylum. He said that if he was returned to El Salvador, he would be tortured, that rival gangs would, and they had in the past, punished his family for their pupusa stand somewhere in El Salvador. The judge bought this and gave him temporary protected status. Now, it's up to you and me, and I don't understand how temporary protected status lasts for something like 6 years in the United States, but it can roll at 6, 12, and 18-month cycles. Apparently, temporary includes the last 6 years of life here in the United States for Garcia. But long and short, he was recently in 2025 sent back to El Salvador. Now, the Trump administration is admitting it was an administrative error to violate that temporary protected status. Whether or not he was an illegal immigrant, whether or not he was a gang member, he had this status in the United States. And J.D. Vance has boiled all this down in the end to the following facts. The man is an illegal immigrant with no right in our country. An immigrant judge determined he was a member of MS-13. And because he's not a citizen, he does not get a full jury trial by peers. In other words, whatever due process he was entitled to, he has already received. Let's return now to the framing of the Maryland father. It has to have hit your radar today. You have to have come across this frame. And ask yourself about the passion. Ask yourself about the quantity of coverage of this Maryland father. Was there similar coverage? Was there similar passion for the murder of Jocelyn Nungare?
Right.
Was there similar passion, similar quantity of coverage for the murder of Laken Riley?
Right.
It tells you something about the sincerity of the protest today. Is it truly about due process? Are they truly concerned about their frame of the Maryland father? Or are they looking to undermine the President of the United States? They're calling for justice. But is it justice to return an illegal immigrant to this country? What's the goal in the end? Because it's hard to discern that there's anything other than, through false framing and calls to return to the United States, absolute injustice. Here is Congressman Jamie Raskin asking for that exact injustice.
I call on my colleagues right now to call off the campaign to impeach federal judges for doing their jobs. I call on them to demand that the Trump administration comply with all judicial orders while appealing whichever ones they want to appeal, and to demand the return of people unlawfully taken to—
What? I mean, this is crazy. Do you see this? Do you hear what is happening right now? Let me put this back on my screen.
El Salvador on that
Raskin calls for the return of deportees. Now, this man has already been proven to be an MS-13 gang member. They are literally wanting to use tax dollars, okay, because it's not coming out of their pockets, to get a plane, a bus, a train, or whatever means, and try to go to a foreign country and bring people who got in this country illegally in the first damn place back to American soil. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. This is insane. So this is exactly what I was talking about when they were protesting on the 5th. Bring them back. First of all, the United States has no jurisdiction in El Salvador or is it in Venezuela. We can't just decide to go over there and just pick up whoever we choose and bring them back. Our court system doesn't work over there. So how are you just going to go? How in the world are you going to go back to this foreign country and say, gather up all of these gang members and bring them back to the United States so that we can put them on trial and decide then whether or not they should stay when they came here illegally in the first damn place? This is madness. I've never seen anything like it. This is crazy. And I agree with the gentleman who just spoke ahead. This is all about undermining Trump. This is not even about civilian safety or American citizens' safety. This is all about trying to prove a point and try to stand in the way of any and everything Trump is trying to do, which is absolutely ridiculous because this is what the people voted for. The people saw that it was an issue at that border. They saw that these MS-13 gang members and Trende Arago was all over the United States. There have been people who have been raped and unalived by some of these people. Okay. And Biden and Kamala didn't do any damn thing about it. And it wasn't until Trump got in office that those borders became closed, that all of these people who were here illegally, who were actually criminals, were kicked the hell out. And now you have actual Congress members, actual judges demanding that they be brought back in. This is insane. This is absolutely insane.
So-called plane full of gangbangers.
Would it be justice or injustice to return an alleged gang member, a certified illegal immigrant, back to the United States from El Salvador? Joining me now to answer that question is Maryland Democrat Congressman Glenn Ivey. Congressman, thanks for being with me today. Do you agree with your colleague, Congressman Raskin, that those individuals should be returned to the United States?
Well, I think certainly this one should. He was taken illegally. Yeah, I appreciate your lead in on this, but, certainly it was an ongoing case. There was a judge who was handling this matter, as you pointed out, from 2019, and the matter was ongoing. He was picked up in 2025 and taken out of the country without that judge having a chance to hear why he was being taken or whether he'd violated any of the conditions of his release, he wasn't even seen by another judge. And now that he's gone and he's in El Salvador, the government has the temerity to argue that we can't make a decision about whether he should come back because he's out of our jurisdiction. He's in El Salvador. So it's kind of like the orphan complaining that he's had a troubled childhood because he killed his own parents. I mean, bring him back, give him the chance to have the hearing he should have had before he was sent over there, because that is what America.
No. We have bigger fish to fry. Okay, we have much bigger fish to fry. American citizens and politicians and Democrats specifically don't have time to be wasting on freaking El Salvadorian MS-13 members who were deported incorrectly. We don't have time for this nonsense. Get this off my daggone screen.
Bring him back, give him the chance to have the hearing he should have had before he was sent over there.
But this is ridiculous. This is why I'm so upset with the Democratic Party. While we're over here dealing with American citizens, taxpayers, dealing with the cost of inflation, the sky high interest rates with regards to mortgages, loss of jobs, crime in our cities, poor food quality, poor medical resources, we dealing with all of this, and you talking about go back to El Salvador and get an MS-13 gang member and bring him back. This is what they waste their time on. This is what they spend their time on. This is why they can't create any policies for any American citizens. This is why they can't speak to the constituents that actually supported Kamala Harris and did not support Trump. This is what they have for you. They don't have any policies, no real legislation. They want to focus their energy and their time on bringing MS-13 gang members back into America. Okay. Cory Booker wants to stand on the Senate floor and quote unquote filibuster talk for over 24 hours about nothing, brought about nothing in terms of legislation, brought about nothing in terms of policies, brought about nothing in terms of solutions with regards to this immigration system. But what do they want to spend their time on? What do they want to get on all of this media, legacy media, and talk about? Bringing freaking gang members back into the country. That's what they want to dedicate their time toward. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And what kind of a slap in the face is that to Jocelyn Nungary's mother? Okay, Jocelyn Nungary was 12 years old. She was taken by immigrants. Laken Riley's family. What kind of slap in the face is it to the people, the victims of this broken immigration system that came on the backs of the Biden administration? So to show respect and honor and class and dignity and any little shred of condolences about what has happened with regards to that broken immigration system, this is how they repay American citizens. Spend their time requesting that this MS-13 gang member be brought back. Let that sit in. Let that marinate for a minute. And they want to know why their poll numbers are so goddamn low. Look in the mirror. Watch this over again. Go through the whole list of issues that Trump is leading on, and you're going to find all your answers right there. You want to know why Americans are turning their backs on your party? This shit right here.
Because that is what American law requires. And if you should go
Congressman
over,
Ivey,
then deport him. But if not, you should stay here.
If I might, I'm curious about your perspective on this. There is a court that has determined he was an illegal immigrant. They did, in fact, grant him temporary protective order because of his claims of asylum in El Salvador. And the Trump administration has admitted that it was an administrative error to deport him back to El Salvador. Right. But we're trying to, together, you and I, determine what is true justice here. And I'm curious, if he had been deported in this past week, not to El Salvador, but to Honduras, would that have been a problem for you? That wouldn't have been a violation of that court order. That court order specifically was about El Salvador. So I'm curious, if he had been deported to Honduras or Nicaragua, would you today hold the same opinion you hold about him being deported to El Salvador?
Well, I don't know about the TPS issue with respect to Honduras or Nicaragua. I think the deportation issue overall, though, appears to have been in violation of what the original judge said should happen. In fact,
I believe that's because the order said specifically he couldn't. I think that's specifically because he had an asylum claim from El Salvador and he couldn't be deported to El Salvador. The reason I ask you, Congressman, about Nicaragua or Honduras is whether or not what you're really doing is looking for justice according to the law. And I respect if that's what you're talking about. If you've truly been a congressman who's been faithful to the concept of due process throughout the Biden administration and whoever is president, then I respect that. I respect that. But if you think justice is passionately arguing for this man's return to the United States, and I didn't see that same passion. I know you didn't go to the joint session of Congress, but your colleagues didn't stand up when the president honored Jocelyn Nungaray.
Right.
So I see a disconnect on this passion.
Right.
Passion for an illegal immigrant. Yes, an illegal immigrant deported. No sense of quantity of passion for the victims of illegal immigrants here in the United States.
Thank you.
How about this? The law is supposed to be dispassionate. That's why we have independent judges make these decisions based on the evidence and the law that's presented to them. That was circumvented in this case. So, I mean, I guess we can go through hypotheticals about what if he'd been sent here or there. But as you said, the government admitted they did it incorrectly. So just bring him back. And they can bring him back.
Well, I'm not sure. Just because it was executed incorrectly,
doesn't
I don't
mean
think just because it was executed
to bring him
the
back.
Logical conclusion is to bring him back to the United States. He could be deported to any number of countries, as I point out. He could be deported from the United States, which I believe is justice.
An American judge has to make that determination, right? So bring him back. They've admitted they did it incorrectly. They admitted they made a mistake. Bring him back. If what you're saying is correct, present it in court and move forward. But I'll note that the brief that I just read that the government filed doesn't make any of those arguments that you just made. So based on the law, I'm not sure that what you're saying is correct. And I'm not sure that the decision that the judge would make is what you think it would be. Let's just bring it back and find out.
Say they think this is a joke.
In just one moment.
They think this is a joke.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had to say today.
The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang. That is fact number one. Fact number two, we also have credible intelligence proving that this individual was involved in human trafficking. And fact number three, this individual was a member, actually a leader of the brutal MS-13 gang, which this president has designated as a foreign terrorist organization. Fact number four.
And look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This congressman this lawyer is just completely ignoring all that. If a judge in America said that he needs to, be here, then we need to honor that. So just completely disregard the fact that a same judge here in the United States confirmed that he is an MS-13 gang member. So yes, he's a gang member who's incredibly dangerous, but we should still give him his opportunity to be in our country, a country in which he was here illegally in the first place. How does this even make logical sense? This is insanity. This is insanity.
Or is that foreign?
And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play over.
I'm not sure that what you're saying is.
I'm going to play it again because I want you to thoroughly hear this long list of stuff that has been confirmed of this specific person in Maryland.
Correct. And I'm not sure that the decision that the judge would make is what you think it would be. Let's just bring it back and find out.
I'm going to return to that in just one moment, okay? Here's what White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt had to say today.
The administration maintains the position that this individual who was deported to El Salvador and will not be returning to our country was a member of the brutal and vicious MS-13 gang. That is fact number one. Fact number two, we also have credible intelligence proving that this individual was involved in human trafficking. And fact number three, this individual was a member, actually a leader of the brutal MS-13 gang, which this president has designated as a foreign terrorist organization. Fact number four is that foreign terrorists do not have legal protections in the United States of America anymore.
Congressman, it doesn't sound like that justice would require bringing back this individual to the United States, much less all the individuals, by the way, that Congressman Raskin asked for.
I got to say, if those facts are correct, present them in court.
Please, give me a break.
Give
me a break.
Saying it at a press conference is not the same thing as saying it in court under oath. Bring him back. Again, let's do it the right way. We have a legal system that works very, very well on these kinds of issues. When we get them to court, let's use it.
And again, I think he has had his day in court. He has had due process. The question is not whether or not an error was made, but whether or not the error has to be rectified by bringing him back to the United States. By the way, I appreciate what you said about.
He did not have a day in court for what the United States just did. That's why
he's an illegal immigrant. Congressman, he's an illegal immigrant. That in and of itself.
What they said is, we don't have jurisdiction over it anymore. Not that he had due process.
Yeah, because he's in El Salvador.
Yes. El Salvador.
Yes, because he's in El
Salvador. It's ridiculous.
Congressman, he's an illegal immigrant. That in and of itself is a deportable crime in my book, and I think in many Americans' book. I like what you said about the law being dispassionate. I do.
How about the judge he appeared before? What about his book? I appreciate what you say, but you don't have a robe or a gavel. You're not a judge. These things should be decided in court. When they picked him up in 2025, give the judge from 2019 a chance to review it and say, okay, you should send him out or not.
I would love to talk to that judge.
Immigration judge. But use the court process that we have. It's not too much to ask that well, let me say
two final things. I would love to talk to that judge about a temporary status rolls over for 6 years. And also how it is that you can claim asylum as a gang member when any rival gang could be a threat to your life at any given time. Every gang member across South America and Central America could claim asylum because they have rival gangs. But that's not for you. That's for a judge. I do like what you said about the law should be dispassionate, but you're a congressman and I'm a media member. There's no such requirement for us when we analyze these issues for us to be dispassionate. I want to see the same passion from you on those issues of the crimes of illegal immigrants as you do for this error when it comes to illegal immigrants. That's what I hope for you, Congressman.
I prosecuted the crimes of illegal immigrants for 8 years. I locked up more people in my day than you ever did. So don't lecture me about not being passionate about
you write the laws.
Immigrants to do something wrong.
No.
I've done it. You haven't. Back up.
Today, Congressman, you write the laws. Congressman, today, you don't prosecute the laws. You write the laws.
In fact, I did a joint prosecution with Rod Rosenstein of MS-13 when he was the U.S. attorney and I was the state's attorney. I've done this before. You have not. Don't sit there and lecture me about being passionate about people who break the law. I've done it. You have not.
Congressman, I think you took that a little more personally than intended, but I think that what I'm talking about is not your past, but your present. We apply passions today in our current jobs, not our former jobs. Congressman, I have to leave it here. I've gone way over time, and I'm always willing to do so. I appreciate the back and forth. You're welcome here anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great,
Okay, take care.
great interview. I love the fact that he pressed that congressman in the manner in which he did. We need to see more of it. That is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Would that congressman feel the exact same way if it was his wife or his daughter who was trafficked, who was unalived, who was raped by MS-13 members, immigrants here illegally and deported? Would he be okay with his neighbor, okay, his elected officials fighting on the front lines to bring these criminals back because somehow they deserve their day in court? Are you serious? Are you kidding me? This is what America has become. This is craziness. And this is why Democrats are not in power right now. This is why, because had the Democrats won again, this freaking country would be a freaking shit show. One big cluster F. Okay? Thank God for it. Thank God they did not get into that White House and don't control the Congress right now. This is insane. This is vile. Your main, your primary focus should be the safety and well-being of American citizens, period. Anytime you disregard the well-being and the safety of American citizens for MS-13 gang members, we have a serious problem on our hands. And that is what the Democratic Party is presenting right now. That is what they're presenting to the American public. So while they're sitting here talking about Trump is taking our Social Security away, Trump is taking your grandma's Medicare, they're fighting, which is all lies, okay? All lies, all of it. They're sitting here trying to get gang members brought back into the country. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't even believe it. I wouldn't even believe it. This is crazy. But what say you? You know, sometimes when I get in here and I start talking about these crazy ass politicians, specifically these Democrats, I get heated. I get so upset. It's so frustrating. It's so upsetting that us as Americans are like last on their list of people to be concerned with. It's so upsetting. It's so incredibly upsetting. And then it's like you hear the term "Make America Great Again," and it's just like, damn, America first. Yes, that's what this is supposed to be. Even if you're not MAGA, even if you don't support Trump, you have to subscribe to your government giving a damn about you versus everybody else in the world. This is just craziness. I can't even believe it. But what say you? What is your opinion? Do you feel like America should be utilizing its tax dollars and resources to literally fly gang members who have been deported to El Salvador and Venezuela and all Honduras back to America? Do you think that these gang members deserve their day in American court? Let me know. Get in the comments. I want to continue the conversation. And so again, if you have not, please do go ahead and subscribe. My name is Andrea Banu, and this is The Community Legend. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and watch the next video by clicking right here.